to be here. We just came back from a nice hike today. We're
Oh,
in
wow.
Cyprus right now and enjoyed the nice weather. Happy to be here now.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. I'm sure we're all FOMOing. We'd probably much rather be doing this on top of a mountain right now, too.
Hey guys, yeah, we're not on top of a mountain, but we are in Cyprus. It's our first working session together, but abroad and not at home. I overbended my ankle today, so I'm a little pissed about myself. But
Oh, man.
apart from that, we are in good shape and looking forward to this. 600 people already, crazy.
I know, this is incredible, right? Well, hey, I'm glad it was only one ankle and not two, and we all wish you a speedy recovery. But guys, I'm so excited just to be talking to you in front of 600 and something people. I've been buying some confetti NFTs, just celebrating this moment right now. But we're all excited just to find out what has been happening at LI.FI since the last community update. There's been so many exciting things like rebranding. We've had audits happening, so much happening. So I'm going to hand the stage to you guys right now, and you can just give us an update. We'd love to hear it.
All right, yeah, you already mentioned a few things. A lot of stuff is happening. We've been at ETH Denver. We have been at ETH Amsterdam, and in between, we were facing an exploit, and it was all handled very well within 18 hours. It was a great stress test for the team. We got audited twice since, and we had different other security measures being done until today. Like working with Go Plus together on especially verifying the tokens we support. So essentially, Go Plus is a security API that allows to check if a token is legit or not, and we show that in our interface and pass that on to our B2B partners. Apart from that, rebranding was done, at least for the new thing. So back then we were still LI Finance, now we are LI.FI, and much shorter name. It stands for Linked Finance, before anyone asks, and it's pronounced LI.FI. Even though if you're American, you would rather say LI.FI, but it's LI.FI because it comes from linked. And yeah, a lot of progress on the development side. As people could tell, we have been shifting our focus from the B2C interfacing to the B2C facing interface to being more B2B. That was actually the plan from day one. But the B2C interface was a great way to test our tech in the background. And we moved it over to transfer to XYZ, which is now our B2C interface. And of course, we're going to give it a rebrand, or let's say redesign soon as well. But yeah, as the focus is on the B2B side of things, and as we are in touch with, or in advanced talks with so many large companies, we really need to focus on the backend API SDK. We have added more bridges. We made the backend faster and more secure. We inherited all the small little details that make all these little bridges special, or large bridges special. And it's been quite a ride on the technical side. 2 audits being done now, and we just published a report this week. So finally over that as well. And yeah, we grew the team to around 25 people. We made some great hires. We hired PayPal's ex-lead designer, Will. We made other hires, like the VP of engineering from Flowkey joined us as head of operations, and lots of other great talents we in talk with. Jordan, you have joined us. This is also new, so welcome. And yeah, Max, do you have anything to add?
Sure. So on the development side, a lot was happening as well. We integrated more bridges, more chains. As we see right now, the bridges we support, they support more chains themselves all the time. So we keep up with that and add them as well. On staging, I just counted, we have 15 chains so far, which is pretty awesome. And also I'm pretty amazed of the features of Connects we're using to allow destination swaps. I don't know if you have noticed, but especially if you're onboarding to a new chain where you have never been before, we allow you to transfer some stablecoin and immediately swap it to gas for you, so you can get started there even if you haven't been there before. That is pretty cool, and we're working on a few more integrations like this, where we allow the user to execute something on the destination chain without any other signatures or transactions. So, for example, we have done a showcase with KlimaDAO, where you can come from some other chain, transfer tokens, and then swap them into the Klima token and stake this token immediately on their side. And this is all done like in one flow. You don't have to switch interfaces or something. This is pretty strong, and we're looking forward to have more integrations like this, which just way easier for the user to interact with the dApp they like. As Philipp said, this is like this B2B way we want to go, that we integrate with all these partners, that you can use our bridge from your wallet, from the dApp, wherever you are, so to make the life for you as easy as possible. And at the same time, ensure that you use the most secure, fastest, cheapest bridge we can find for you.
I want to add something to this as well. Again,
Yeah, please do.
also don't forget, guys, like we have such great research on the team, like Arjun and Mark. And if you follow our blog, yeah, those are the two guys. We are publishing a weekly newsletter on Telegram. Yeah, make sure to follow that. There's so much to learn about the cross-chain space, but especially the blog is packed with deep dives into all these bridges we aggregate. So if you want to learn about security, especially this is a point where we take a lot of work into, or put a lot of work into. We just released like a blog article about trust as a spectrum. So essentially analyzing all these different kinds of bridges. So definitely worth checking out. It's blog.li.fi. And yeah, we have been doing a lot since the last community update.
Yeah, well, thank you for such a, wow, it's just been like such a comprehensive bit of feedback. There's so much has been happening, and if I have to sum it up, I'm just so excited, as I'm sure the whole community is excited to see what's to come with our cross-chain bridge and DEX aggregation, shifting with a focus on B2B, but not neglecting B2C. There's so much happening, and I think this is just the beginning for us, and really excited to see what's to come. I really enjoyed that EtherSpot partnership Max mentioned with the staking, and how that's going to work. So thank you for the feedback and letting us know what's been happening since the last community update. It's been awesome just to read actually what Mark and Arjun and the team have been researching and what they write about. So if you look into our server, you'll see that we have a channel called Important Links. I just want to encourage everybody just to check that out. Take some time, follow everything that you can follow, and just stay informed and up to date, because you don't want to FOMO, you don't want to miss out. And with that being said, our community members did not take a chance to miss out on asking questions. Max, Philip, have you guys seen the amount of questions that our community members are dying to have answers to?
Crazy. So much. Yeah. So many questions. Looking forward to answer them. Jordan, do you simply pick the person who has to answer?
Yeah, so how it'll work is I have the list of questions here on my phone. So I'm gonna read through it, and then I will ask the question to yourself or Max. And if you'd like to pick that question to answer, you can simply do so. Yeah, we're excited to hear what the feedback would be. So let's kick this off and head into the part where we answer the questions from our community. It's really exciting. So this is a question from one of our members. He says, where do the team think LI.FI needs to make significant improvements next? I like that question for one reason, because we're a team that always want to improve. We're a team that always desire to be better, and we're forward thinking. So Philip, can I ask that question to you? Which areas would you like to see LI.FI improve on and make a significant change?
All right, so be prepared for a 2 hours monologue. Where do I even start? So I think we have been doing a great job with the new website. We have to transport the very same improvements to transfer to XYZ. I know we started off as UX Maxis as a hashtag. And while it remains true for everyone who integrates us, and as a B2B company, we wanted to make this space better. We wanted to improve the space by aggregating, right? UX Maxis was not really meant to be for that B2C interface, but now we have to, like, this thing blew up. So we're going to work on this. We have to improve on so many things so frequently, especially as we are growing so fast. So it's continuously rethinking organizational structure and making sure that people own certain parts of the company and the variety of products we are building. Of course, it's all somehow the same, but it comes in different shapes. Like there's the API, there's the smart contract, there's the SDK, and there's going to be a widget. We have an MVP version of the widget, but we are reworking this whole thing. So yeah, improvements on all ends, right? It's like there is no bottom, and yeah, it's hard to answer the question. But I think in for the community, it's important to know that we see all these different things. So if we want to improve transfer to XYZ, yes, a huge part is the user interface, but the majority of the user experience is being done by improving the backend and optimizing requests to other bridges we aggregate, and making sure that if something goes wrong on the underlying bridges, we cover these errors and show messages, and be as transparent as possible, optimize the handling of support requests and all of that. So community support, we already try to be as good at it as possible, automate as much as possible, but it's always going to be a challenge, especially as we grow. So yeah, thank you all for giving us again and again the chance to prove ourselves. And I promise you, like, we want to improve on all ends.
Yeah, thank you so much for that, Philip. I think, like, community, I really want to encourage you guys that we are a project that really values your feedback and input, because we do this for you, essentially. We want to give you the best cross-chain experience. So again, if you look at some of our channels in our server, we do have a suggestions channel. Please let us know, like, what you'd like to see improved, what you'd like to be changed. It's not falling on deaf ears. Like Philip says, we're constantly working on improving and giving you the best experience so that we can be those UI and UX maxis. Speaking of maxis, excuse the pun, Max, I have a question for you next. And people wanted to know, how does LI.FI gain the competitive edge over its competitors, other DEX and bridge aggregators? So we'd love to know that answer. So over to you.
Yeah, that's a good question. For sure, our competitive advantage was in the beginning. We were the first. We were the first aggregator. We did this first, and this gives us the advantage now that we have most bridges integrated. That we support more chains than the others. And we go even beyond that. As I said earlier, we do not only want to aggregate DEXs and bridges. We want to integrate natively into the dApps we work with. And I think this gives us the advantage over the competition. Because the bridging game itself, like the bridges, will get cheaper, will get faster. But for you guys, it's important to know about that and then to automatically select the best bridge you want to use. So we do this for you. We provide you with the information for that. And you can then do your transfers secure and fast.
I want to add to this also, like, speaking of competition, it's also that there are multiple ways to integrate bridges, right? And I believe that what we do really well is the depth in which we integrate bridges. We really try to inherit each bridge's individual strength, and that creates overall a much better product than most other bridge aggregators who kind of fake it till make it or not. We will see. But we do know that others simply haven't managed to implement these specific features as we did. And yeah, and it's simply us being just focused on solving that one problem. And I think this is very important. This is important for any company that wants to execute anything. It's focus. And we made these learnings in the past already. It's not the first time that Max and I are building a company. And I do believe that we can take this experience into this venture here and excel in executing.
Yeah, I love how you ended that. Excel in executing by using the experience that you have, because you guys have a rich history together in building companies. And I can just say, like, you guys go a long way back, and we're really fortunate to have you guys as our founders, as our leaders, and really steering this movement and this great thing of cross-chain interoperability. Yeah, we just love to be a part of this, and it's incredible to have over 1,000 listeners tuning in. Shout out to you guys. This is a question that's come up quite a lot, Philipp. A lot of members have been asking, and I saw you tweeted about this on Twitter as well, just asking some of the crypto Twitter community about their thoughts. But let's talk about in cross-chain NFT swaps and what that looks like, and how does the future of NFTs look like for what we offer, cross-chain swapping? Yeah, we'd love to know that.
It's really difficult. It's difficult because NFTs can be difficult, and they can be complex in the way they work. For example, thinking about royalties, right? So let's say an NFT had royalties embedded, and I mean it's an important mechanic for the creator to earn money. What if that NFT gets bridged and then traded essentially on a secondary market, because these funds would have to be streamed back to the original creator? How can we maintain that? So far what we have seen is that the NFT bridge space is not as advanced yet. We do know that there are projects working on this. Some people have, or some projects have released NFT bridges, but they are not very secure, or they are very, just pragmatically done and not really in a satisfying shape, I would say. Yeah, we will see. It is a hard topic. And with bridges coming up like Axelar, Nomad, Layer 0, and even Wormhole, we might see some innovation coming from that end, or based on those arbitrary data messaging bridges. But yeah, it's still very early as for any bridge. So I simply would have to say we all have to wait. But should the day come, we're going to support them as well, for sure.
Yeah, that's great. It's great that we can mention integration partners and potential integration partners, and how we can build this cross-chain interoperability future together. No, I really do love that. This is a question that's come up quite a few times today. Max, maybe you can provide some insights on that. Users want to know what ways can the users and LI.FI itself produce profit? Like, how can it be sustainable when we talk about economics?
That's a good question. As you know, at the moment, we don't charge any additional fees. So if you do a transfer with us, you may even save some gas by combining the DEX call and the bridge call in one transaction, but we don't take an additional fee on that. So to monetize this, there are a lot of different ways. The easiest for sure is to take a small fee. This could be like a fee that takes the positive slippage, that could be like the gas we save you, that could be a fee for like extra services we provide. So if we do some advanced things in the end, we can take a fee there. This would be very straightforward, but at the same time, we want to keep it as easy and as cheap for you as possible. So one way is that our product stays free. But if an integration partner, for example, a wallet, wants to use our product and they want to charge a fee, because for them it's very important to charge a fee on their service as well. And if they charge a fee, we can take a cut of that. So this way we would provide both the way of the cheapest transfers on our website, and at the same time being able to monetize what we're doing. But there are way more things we're thinking of. For example, we worked closely together with the underlying bridges. So if we, for example, create our own liquidity pools there to earn some bridging fees like in the infrastructure, and a lot of other ideas how we could earn some money in the future.
Yeah, thank you for those insights. I'm sure we all found it very valuable. And yeah, thank you very much. We do appreciate that. All right, Philip, I'd like to ask you this because quite a few members have been wondering, well, I'll just read the question. How can we ensure that LI.FI can survive in Bear City? I like to think of it as build city, like we love to build, especially during these tough times. But I think users generally want to know, like, are we here for the long haul? And how can we survive during times that are high and maybe times that are low? Yeah, so I think some users might want some reassurance from you. So over to you.
Yeah, I think there are multiple indicators that show that we are here for the long run. So we have been suffering for a long time as entrepreneurs in the past. So I don't really watch the markets. I really don't. And we are infrastructure, right? So what we are building is a platform where we see future generations of dApps being built on. And that being said, we're gonna sit here in 5 years, hopefully, and we can add 2 zeros to our listeners counter. So I'm really definitely in here for the long run. And we are just getting started with what we are building. So especially that's why it takes so much time to get things done. I could double the team tomorrow. That's how busy we are, and I'm really looking forward to that. Like we are on a path to make that happen. And yes, especially as that you guys think about it, this cross-chain space, the bridging space, all of that is so early, and it's going to grow and expand. And then again, certain bridges will die, others will come up and focus on specific things. Aggregators gonna aggregate, right? So we gonna keep going, and there's so much to do. So don't worry about that. And that's also the reason why. And let me answer a question that you haven't asked yet. Like that's also why we are not talking about a token yet. We don't have time for a token right now. Like this is nothing in our mind at the moment. Not at all. Really, not at all. So in the long run, of course, we want to decentralize this company, and there's only one way to do it. But until then, yeah, we want to focus on building the best product out there. And so, long story short, yes, see you in 5 years, or just daily on this Discord. Like, don't worry.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere. Don't worry about 5 years. We'll be here today, tomorrow, the next week. So all of you asking when token, haven't given you an answer yet, but I'm glad you finally have one. And I think, I'm not a guy who has tattoos, but Philipp, aggregator is going to aggregate. Hey, that might just be my first one. That's awesome. Thank you for that. Max, so we have a user here who's been on transfer to XYZ, and they've noted that it says beta product use at own risk. So this user says, transfer XYZ says, beta product use at own risk. When could we use this amazing bridge with no risk attached? So it's maybe a question where this user is also looking for some reassurance and just understanding where we are in our growth cycle.
Yes. So we have added this information right in the beginning to make sure that while we're testing what we're doing, the user know about that. In the meantime, there has been happening a lot. And now we have our audits. Our contract is officially audited twice. And this was like the one step we were missing to remove this beta flag. So I was testing the new contract deployment this weekend, and it's all working fine. Next week, I hope to enable it on production and to finally remove the beta flag. I was really looking forward to this for a long time. Because it is secure to use our service. Our contracts are designed in a way that the funds go directly to the bridge, or they fail and you have them back in your wallet. It was secure all the time to do that, but now we have the assurance of the auditors, and with that we can remove the beta flag next week.
Yeah, wonderful news. We've always been big on security, and now with our audits from Code 4 Arena and Quantstamp, that just adds to our emphasis on what we've already been saying, what we as LI.FI have already been practicing. So yeah, that's great. That's great to hear, and I, like you, have been looking forward to that day and ready to celebrate. Philip, so a lot of community members have been asking about when could we have any, integrations with zkSync and Solana. Maybe you could speak to that. There seems to be quite a few fans in the chat of zkSync.
Yeah, absolutely. We are fans as well, for sure. There are not many bridges out there right now supporting this. Orbiter is one of them to mention. Same for Solana. There's Wormhole and Allbridge. And yeah, Allbridge has an API, but it's not public yet, and we're missing a feature. We had Wormhole V1 already implemented and then had to learn how painful the developer experience is. So we had to wait for V2, currently implementing that. But guys, it's not only done with offering a bridge. Our value proposition is that you can swap into any desired token on the destination chain, right? So then we need, so first we need the bridge, we need the token lists and the DEX on the destination chain. We need wallet support. There's so much more that needs to be available. So a bridge is not enough, right? So it is coming. Don't worry. We are watching this very, very closely. Probably Solana before zkSync. But yeah, we are trying to move as fast as possible. Definitely going to other L1s is one of the next steps for us. Or layer 2s, depending on how you see zkSync.
Yeah, great to hear. As you mentioned, Solana, I know Zordon is jumping up and down in the chat and in person right now. He's a big fan of Solana, so that's great. Max, I wanted to ask you. We know with our partnership with EtherSpot, there's so many opportunities that have risen, but community members want to know, in terms of staking, farming, and pools, what do the next steps look like for LI.FI in terms of more opportunities to stake and yield farming?
Yeah, the most important thing for us is to make sure that this can happen like with any platform out there. So at the moment, we're looking how to design and maintain a system that allows app developers to easily add their service, to be able to integrate directly with us. Because a showcase is nice and two showcases are even nicer, but in the end there are so many dApps out there and we need to provide them the APIs and the interfaces that allows them to integrate themselves into our service, which is not that easy to be true, because for sure it's not only allowing someone to call some contract, we also have to provide the information to the user. There needs to be an API to get the prices for the whole transaction, how many funds are transferred from where to where, and what are they swapped, what fees are taken, why should I go into this pool? So there are a lot of information we have to collect, which is one thing we do a lot. Like we collect a lot of information about the different bridges, about the DEXs, about the DEX aggregators, to ensure we have a stable and fast service at all times.
Yeah, that's great. I think those are important things to consider when looking at these topics. Okay, so that's really great. So this is an interesting question. I'm not sure personally what plans we might have for this, but Philip, in terms of the metaverse, cross-chain bridging and aggregation in the metaverse, will we play a role in the future? One of those fun questions to ask.
Oh yeah, that's the fun question. So what is the metaverse? Let's start there. No, for sure. I think very early on so essentially let's go back to LI.FI's vision, right? LI.FI is creating a middle layer between DeFi infrastructure and the application layer. The idea is to aggregate all cornerstones that make up DeFi and the metaverse. And obviously we started with the two things that transfer and move and swap assets, which are bridges between chains and the DEXs and DEX aggregators on each chain. So that's the start. what's next? We could at that point or at some point start diving into lending protocols, because whenever you want to move funds, you might also want to take out a loan, right, and place the collateral. So doing that out of the box is one other step. Another step would also be to employ insurance protocols and ensure the purchase you have done on a farm, because essentially whenever you invest pool deposit into something, you're buying into it, right? It's kind of a checkout experience, and in that checkout experience you might want to insure things. Now what are you also buying? NFTs, right? So that, especially that widget we're going to release, is gonna be targeted towards the NFT and trader space. We're going in that way, and I believe at that point we're gonna have to aggregate NFT related data services. That's what we're gonna start with for sure. Aggregating floor prices and whatever. Like there's so much more. This is like a rabbit hole. We're gonna open up that rabbit hole as soon as we have managed to scale the team. But I believe we are a few months away from that. And yeah, let me not dive into that rabbit hole now, because that's deep.
Yeah, for sure. Well, hey, we're all going to stick around in a few months' time. Maybe hop on another call to dive into that rabbit hole, because it's inspiring. It's great to see all the plans that we have. One of the big things that's really cool is our smart routing, and deciding which bridges to use and which exchanges and DEXs. So Max, some users want to know, how does LI.FI on transfer to XYZ choose which choose basically the route and the smart route. Can you break that down for us? There might be some new users here who are unfamiliar with the concept and would love just to know.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. So the information we get from the user is from where to where he wants to move the funds, and if he wants to receive another token than he put in. So we take this information and match this with the database, with the live database we have. So for every combination of chains, there may be multiple bridges available, especially like between the main known, like the Polygon chain, Phantom, Ethereum, Avalanche. There are a lot of bridges combining these chains. So we check with all of them if they have enough liquidity to do the transfer. This may not be too important for a very small transfer, but if you're transferring bigger amounts, this is very important to make sure that actually the bridge can serve unlimited liquidity because they mint new tokens on the destination, or if the bridge has enough liquidity to do the job. On top of that, we check if a swap is needed, because many of the bridges only support stable coins, but users most often want to have something else because they want to have this fancy new token on some new chain. So we have to check, is there liquidity to swap all these tokens that can be transferred into the fancy new token. Collecting all these information, we then have a big matrix of possible routes, and we order them for the user automatically, based on his preferences. For sure, if he doesn't like specific bridges or prefers other, we take this in. But also we check how complicated is this transfer. Is there, for example, if there are multiple swaps involved and we have a bigger slippage risk, is there perhaps another bridge which can transfer the token directly like the user wishes it to do? So there are different factors. We combine them, we include gas costs as well, and then most often we suggest the user the cheapest route. It may be not the absolutely cheapest route if there's another route with less slippage, so he can be sure that he gets the expected tokens on the other side. It has no other risk attached to that.
Yeah, that sounds really great. And what if users don't have gas on any end of the swap? In future, will we be able to, or even presently, how do we assist with this? Or how do we aim to?
That's a good one. At the moment, our UI has just some basic information for that. So if the user wants to do a transfer which requires some swap on the other side, which he has to submit there and he does not have gas on the destination chain already, we let him know before so he does not start a transfer and then get stuck on the other end. In the future, we want to help him way more with that. So what I said earlier, what we can already do is by using the connects bridge, we can swap any token into gas token on the destination chain for the user. So the user transfers USDC, and before the USDC arrives at the user's wallet, we move it to our contract, swap it to gas with the best DEX rate, and then send the gas to the user. This is possible already. What we're working on are partial swaps, so that the user can transfer like $100 to a new chain and take 10 of those tokens and swap them into gas. So he ends up with the token and the gas, which allows him to access anything on the chain.
Right, thank you for your answer. That's great. Philipp, we've spoken a little bit about some of the things that we're looking most excited about in terms of what's happening next for LI.FI, but some people are asking, specifically with our roadmap, what are some key things that you can most identify and look forward to the most? So on our roadmap, what are you looking forward to the most for us to roll out? Maybe you can speak a bit more to that.
There are a few things. So as I mentioned already, we are working on the new widget that's about to come. We are working on redesigning transfer to XYZ. We are working on going to other L1s like Solana, Terra, Near, Polkadot. These things are coming, and as I mentioned, like there is a long tail of integrations and requirements that need to be available before we can do these things, and they take a lot of work. And then, for sure, new ways to test things, and actually new hires, right? Because we are facing other programming languages, so we need to hire other people to do that. Yeah, we already started doing this, but yeah, this is coming, and then there is a lot of stuff in the background we can't really talk about yet. Amazing stuff though, like really looking forward to get these things done. Nice partnerships and collaborations. So this is coming, and it always takes a lot of work to get these things off the ground, but they are worth it. So looking forward to that. So some hidden alpha there. I'm sorry, guys. And apart from that, I think that's enough, right? Like this. We are also working on monetizability. We have marketed that feature, but we had it in there for a short period of time. Then we took it out. We're going to revamp the monetization feature for integration partners so that they can take a fee if they integrate our SDK. And we want to provide full flexibility on that. So it takes a little more work and another re-audit. And so.
Yeah, I think like we could go back and forth and talk for like probably another year about all that's in store, right? It's just that exciting. And some hidden alphas.
Don't ask me about my ideas. don't even start asking me about my ideas. Like, I really try to be concise here.
No, well, we appreciate that, and we appreciate you. No, some hidden alpha is always good. It's like a steak in the fridge. You'll have to tenderize a little bit more. You know, it's always going to be better when it's brought out. So we're going to stick around for that. This is a question, Max, from someone called Matrix. Firstly, good name. Secondly, dope question. And here's what Matrix is asking. Does the project have any plan for being compatible with other non-EVM chains? And so that's the question. Does the project have any plan for being compatible with other non-EVM chains?
For sure. Philipp answered this a little bit earlier already by talking about Solana. Solana is not an EVM chain, and we're already working on support for Solana. But as you know, these other ecosystems work different. So the chain works different, the communication to the services there works different, the wallets are even different. So with most wallets, if you're using MetaMask or something like this, you need another wallet for Phantom, for other wallet for Solana. So we also need to add support for that in our UI. This is a lot of work we have to do. But we're on that. This will take some time until it's finished, as we're at the same time quite busy with supporting all the EVM chains, because we have not all covered yet. There are more chains coming up all the time, and we're still busy like supporting all of them and supporting all the DEXs and the best DEX aggregators and so on there. So this is a huge challenge in two directions, but definitely we will support other ecosystems as well.
Yeah, I suppose that also falls into the category of hidden alpha and a lot that we can really look forward to. Yeah, I'm just reading through these questions. There's so many wonderful questions. Let me look to pick the next one. Okay, so this is quite a fascinating one. Philipp, Alibab is asking, what is our plan, if there even is a plan, for decentralized governance?
Yes, of course. Wow, that's a very indirect hope question. As I mentioned, this is gonna smart. This is it. It's gonna happen at some point. I believe that before we DAOize, we need to make sure that we have a product that is like the product will never be finished, but it needs to be at a stage where it has a certain maturity. Also, in terms of software architecture, you can't just build that huge mothership of something. You have to start small, and it grows organically. And at some point, software architecture has reached a stage where you can easily let outside contributors working on. And I believe projects that don't do that in the right way are those who fail to grow organically within their contributors. Really want to make sure that once we decentralize, we can actually easily let people work on small parts on all ends of the project and even grow faster that way. But there's a lot to be done for that. And a part of, and also, of course, right now we are in our go-to-market phase. So we are aggressively trying to get market share. And I think any decentralization at that point would be disturbing, and we want to remain focused right now. So yes, end goal for sure. Right now, no.
Yeah, when I read a good book, I wanna stick in the chapter that I'm in because it builds suspense. It really leads up to a great culmination of the story and ending. So I think it's great that we stay in the chapter that we're in and thoroughly enjoy it and thoroughly see the opportunities present and build that foundation right, like you've mentioned, so that we can step onto the future opportunities that we have. We're dreaming big, we're dreaming large, we have a lot planned, so that's really exciting. And let's talk a little bit, Max, about the transfer to XYZ experience. A lot of users are having a great experience and they want to have an even better experience. And our aim and our goal is to always help them with a cross-chain experience. So some users are asking, how can we speed up the speed of our swaps and our transactions? And do we have plans to do so?
Yes, so speeding up the transfer itself between two chains is not in our hands because this is done by the bridges, and most bridges, they wait for a specific time of blocks being mined on one blockchain to ensure that the starting transfer is secure and already really has happened. And then they relay this information to the second chain where they then execute it and send the user funds. So it's a security measure on this end to ensure that it really is a legit transfer and the bridges won't be able to like reduce this too much. But there are other things where we can improve to make the whole experience nicer. For example, at some points, users have to wait a long time until their transaction, their approval transaction, their sending transaction is mined because the gas prices on some chains change all the time, and we can do a better job in providing the users up-to-date information what the current gas price is. So we do this already automatically in the background for him, but if he has submitted a transaction and the price changes afterwards, he sits there and doesn't know what's happening. So here I'm planning, for example, to notify him, here the gas price has changed. Go to your wallet, speed up your transaction to make it run faster. And I think this will help the experience as well, especially like communicating more to the user what is happening. Is there something I can do? Or ensuring him there's nothing you can do at the moment. Please relax, sit back, and come back in half an hour. The chain is so busy at the moment, you can't do anything now, but your funds are safe and they will come to you after some time.
Yeah, for sure. We can never over communicate, but we can indeed under communicate. So it's great that we have plans to build on our communication that we have already. And speaking on building on, maybe Max, you can perhaps take this question as well. Users want to know, do we have plans to add other wallets to our B2C transfer to XYZ?
Yes, we will. At the moment, there's just a MetaMask button, but as you know, other browser extension wallets work the same way, or also some wallets with some mobile wallets with web browsers built in. So even if there is the MetaMask button shown only, you are able to connect with a few other wallets as well already. We for sure want to make that clearer and provide a full list of all the wallets we know we support, so you can interact with them. A big step is also adding a Wallet Connect support. We're working on this for a while already. We're testing it on staging, but it's still quite unstable. This is to the nature of this protocol, and that everything like has to be sent over their servers to communicate between our website and the user's app wallet, for example. If you have the website open on your computer, but have your wallet on the phone. So we're working on that. We're also working on ledger support to securely call your transfers from your ledger. This will come as well.
Awesome. Thank you for providing some insight into that and answering that question. Philipp, this one's for you, sir. You just want to talk a bit about to track more volume. So will LI.FI provide a bridge between centralized exchanges and decentralized exchanges for more volume?
Yeah, so there is already a nice centralized exchange aggregator. I think it's LayerSwap, and we have that on our radar, and we want to implement them as well. They're doing a great job at doing that. This is one way to go for sure for us. Yes. So, but we are obviously focused on the DeFi space right now.
Of course.
This is one of the more longer term goals to also add centralized exchanges to it.
No, that's great. Well, that's incredible. And we're stepping into our last few moments of this AMA. I'm not sure about you guys, but I'm quite sad about that. It's been great so far.
Yeah, absolutely. It's fun to answer these questions, and it's especially great to see so many people. Over 1,100 listeners. This is amazing. Yeah. Also, I would love to spend more time on talking about all kinds of things. We should if anyone wants to raise his hand and say something, or just ask a question in person, that could also be a nice thing. So we could try that. After the last questions, Jordan, what do you think?
Yeah, we can do that.
There must be someone between those thousands of listeners to say something. So we can try that. Just give it a try. I mean, please don't come on stage and insult people.
Yeah, we're going to kick you off stage if you do that.
But yeah.
Yeah, sure. So you'd love to, after some of our questions, just invite some hands up. That'll be great.
Exactly. Why not?
Okay, cool. Yeah, why not? Will be fun. I mean, we have many hands to choose from. All right. Will we carry out more functions further than aggregation, cross-chain swaps, and aggregation? Would we provide further functions? This is to either one of you.
Yeah, I think I answered that already partially. It's
yes, sorry.
lending protocols and then allowing to directly swap into certain things, like directly, I don't know, like maybe bridge and then immediately deposit collateral in a fuse pool and take out a loan or whatever. Like there are so many ideas, and we are currently working with a few partners to make that happen. That's
Great.
coming for sure. And then lending protocols and insurances are two of those things that we're definitely going to add in the future.
Sounds great. Sounds great. Here's a question. This is for either one of you. How is the project planning to filter airdrop hunters? There's been a lot of questions about that over the last few days, actually.
Yeah, we just saw the Hop airdrop, and they did a great job in finding out where all these transfers are coming from, and filtering out the airdrop hunters which not really use the service but just like bridge back and forth just to make like themselves count in their statistics, or use multiple wallets to do the same thing over and over. As for the nature of the blockchain, all these information are on the chain. When it eventually comes to an airdrop moment, we will have all these information at hand to choose or to filter these people out that do not really use our service for like the stake of like really bridging somewhere and then using another chain.
Yeah, thanks for answering that. I'm sure that's helpful for the airdrop hunter community. You go, guys. But that's a great update for us. Okay, so we have 9 minutes left, and I think it's a good time to maybe ask the community to show some hands. And if you'd like to come on stage and ask a few questions, now's the time. Don't be shy. We are happy to have you here.
We don't bite, we just ban.
All right. Anyone would like to request to speak? Currently, there's no request. I'm quite shocked.
All right. Do we have another question to answer, Jordan?
Yeah. While we wait for that, let me go through the wonderful list of questions.
Oh, there's someone.
And
There's someone with a question.
oh, there, great. Let's see who this is. All right. Welcome to the stage, sir. Let's wait for him to accept his. Hello there.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we can
we
hear
can
you.
hear you.
Hi, man.
Okay, yeah. Probably I missed something, but like I would like to ask if LI.FI will have their own liquidity, and also will you guys have like transaction explorer for your platform?
So maybe let me take this. Let me take the first half of it. The first half is, so we are a bridge aggregator, right? So by nature, you would provide liquidity at the bridges and not on our side. We would just aggregate these liquidity bridges. There are some potential business models down the road where we could actually shift into a model where we would also collect liquidity and manage it, so to say, and do that in that cross-chain bridging environment. We have plenty of ideas in that direction, but not in the short term. And as for the transaction explorer, I think Max has a better answer here.
Yes, I would love to have that for a long time. So internally, we already track all the bridging calls. We can decode for all the bridges we support, which transfer comes from where and goes where. Has it fulfilled? How long did it take? And we want to make this information available to everyone. For one reason, to analyze the different bridges and to learn more about this, to learn which is the fastest. Or the cheapest, but also for yourself to get an overview, what transfers did I make? And as you know already, our dashboard, we have some overview to show you where are my funds around this a lot changes because it's not that easy to keep track of that.
Okay, yep. Thank you. for your answer. Yeah, just a little bit additional ideas for LI.FI, right? Like, I mean, LI.FI is the bridge aggregator, right? And then yeah, I just compare it to maybe it's a 1 inch of bridge, right? For example, 1 inch they also have their own liquidity as well, right? So meaning as yeah, I forgot your name that you have mentioned that for the long term you will have your own liquidity, right? So meaning like in the future we can like you farm in LI.FI as well, LI.FI as well.
Yes, true. There are some, as I mentioned, there are some ideas around that on how to. Also, for us as a business, would be interesting, like in the Web3 space, to have some sort of TVL, because right now the only thing we have is transaction volume. But this is a whole new endeavor, and we really need to make sure to not FOMO out on potential routes to go. We need to make sure that we solve that one problem first, and solve that one problem as good as no one else. This is how
Alright.
we maintain. This is how we're gonna be sustainable. This is how we're gonna grow in the long run and survive, especially in the bear market. So focus is key. But there will be the point of expansion, and at that point, we have a variety of directions to go. And yeah, going down that road is definitely one of them. But the market is changing so fast, The market is changing so fast. We let's keep on focusing, and then let's see where the market is at that point, and especially where it's heading at. Right? It's always more important to take a look in the future than questioning us what's going on right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
When it comes to these product decisions.
Yeah, so thank you for answering those couple of questions, Bruzy. We want to let Mastermind on stage now to ask a question. So thank you very much. We value being a part of the community and taking the time to ask a question. I'm going to move you to the audience as we invite our next speaker up. Mastermind, how are you? Yeah, I think there we go. Yeah, you're muted. Feel free to ask your question.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hey.
Thanks for letting me up. And I was just kind of curious about if there is any plan for NFT cross-chain bridge in the future, at least in the near future, actually.
Hey, as I mentioned already, like the NFT bridging space is even earlier than all the other bridges. We do know of some projects working on this. Most of them are not very mature yet and haven't solved the problems you would expect to see. One thing I mentioned are that topic of secondary markets. So if we let's say we have an NFT on L1 and it has royalties, right? So which is important for the creator. It's what makes these NFTs so promising for artists of all kinds. And now we create an asset representation on another chain. We essentially create a secondary market for that NFT, and royalties might not go back to the artist on the source chain. So we need to see when there will be a bridge that does that quite well and has all these things taken into account. And at that point, we will also implement a bridge if we see it's well done feature-wise and from a security perspective, of course.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's great, Philip. Thanks for providing that answer. Mastermind, we have someone up next. So thank you so much for taking your time to ask a question. I'm going to invite up our next question asker. Here you go. How are you? And feel free to ask a question.
GM, everyone. Yeah, so I just have a question. I'll probably say it's a two-part question. So I'd like to know, like, I mean, have you identified what you would call your competitors? And a second part of that question is, are there going to be other, DAOs that you're going to be collaborating with in the future, in the far future? Would you be able to share some of that? Thanks.
Sorry, I didn't really get that. Could you repeat this, please? My connection here was kind of stuck.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. So it's a two-part question. So the first part is, have you identified your competitors in the bridging space? And the second part of that question would be, are there any DAOs you plan on collaborating with? Not necessarily in the bridging space, but are there any other DAOs you plan on collaborating with in the far future?
Oh, there are competitors in this space. Yes, of course. We know that we are the most advanced one from the technology perspective, and the most focused one as well. So there are others that have the token out already, so they have to maintain that and the community around this. This is one thing which is distracting. All in all, we can say that most competitors started a month later than we do. So we simply had more time to explore bridges, understand the single mechanics of all of these bridges, and that's also what allows us to inherit all their strength and really integrate them in a very deep manner. And collaboration down the road, for sure. There are some bridge aggregators, for example, that work on multiple products. We expect at some point that they're going to just focus on one of them and leave out the rest, and we will see how many bridge aggregators will remain sustainable in the long run. But yeah, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you, sir.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the question, and Philip, thank you for the answer. We have one more audience member wanting to speak, so welcome to you, and the stage is yours. Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello. I want to know how the gas service is calculated. Gas fees, how the gas fees is calculated.
Hey, thanks for first of all, thanks for being a beta tester of our product. It's pretty nice to have people like you who test like the new things and validate that everything is working before we release it to production. For sure, to answer your question, with bridging, there's always 2 times gas involved because on the sending side, you pay for the gas yourself by submitting the transaction, and on the receiving side, on the other chain, the bridge pays for the gas. So some of the fees the bridge take are for this gas on the destination chain. Some have like a fixed fee, other have a dynamic fee, which is based on current gas on the destination chain. So this is up to the bridges. What we can influence is the gas on the starting chain. And for this, we partly rely on the services we use. For example, if we use a DEX aggregator, they usually provide a expected gas limit with that. We provide this to you. Then for the gas price, like we check the chains constantly. We use some different APIs to monitor what the gas price is and to suggest a good one for you.
And thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you for your question, Max. Really insightful. All right, so Philip, are you happy to take some more hands?
Of course I am.
That's great. That's awesome. Well, here is someone called Skinny G, and he is a server booster. So thank you for being a server booster. You're awesome. The stage is yours.
How's it? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, man. Nice to meet you.
Shot. So with regards to the loans you mentioned earlier, will you guys be providing insurance like in traditional finance systems as well down the line, or are you going to stick mostly just to loans?
Yeah, so no, insurance is something that was up on our mind like from the get-go actually, but it depends. There are some permissionless protocols that are very early. So this is something we have up our mind. Also talking to the obvious ones, Insurace, Nexus Mutual, and all of that. But it's simply nothing we can focus on right now. So this is gonna come for sure at some point. Yeah, does that answer your question? So it's coming, but this is nothing that I don't expect it to come within this year.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks for coming to the stage, Skinny G.
Yeah. Thanks for hosting the show.
Yeah, thank you for that. We have about 150 of them, so we really appreciate our server boosters and our beta testers and our larger community. All right, here is our next question coming from you right now on stage. Stage is yours. I feel like I sound like a radio presenter now.
Well, you are.
All right, Zayden Tin. We'll see if you accept our invite on stage. If not, I do have one last question. Oh, okay, cool. Well then, Max and Philip, I think let me ask you our last question. It comes from Tom Yu, and they want to know about the balance between cost and security when bridging. So how to balance cost and security when bridging? Will LI.FI give different suggestions for different amounts of assets? We've already kind of spoken into this, but it's a prominent question that keeps coming up.
Yeah, so what we do is essentially we are assessing all these bridges on how secure they are, and so balancing. I think the question refers to which bridge we choose, depending on costs and security, and putting it in relation. Ultimately, there are two answers to that. So, as a B2B company, we position ourselves neutral to all those bridges, but we very much understand the different strength in terms of security, speed, and costs. And then we are essentially consulting our integration partners and ask questions like, hey, what's your use case? Which features do you need to accomplish your goals here? And what is your target group? How often are they bridging? What is the average bridging volume? And then already we can give a bunch of recommendations. Hey, maybe for this use case, you definitely should implement multi-chain and Synapse, and then there are others where we like a little more conservative. Hey, maybe only the native bridges and connects are good enough for you guys. Just start with that and hop. But yeah, it really depends. And then on the B2C interface side of things, we also do some things whereby we have a certain clusters for those bridges. Like there's a cluster for trust minimized bridges, there's a cluster for native bridges, there's a cluster for trusted bridges, and within those clusters we do some additional checks. So just to give an example, just because connects and hop are decentralizable by concept doesn't mean they are, right? So we try to measure the degree of decentralization, see how many routers have been spun up over at connects and how many bouncers are up and running on hop. So those are things we do, for example. And then again, in the trusted bucket, maybe we're going to check, all right, MPC-based bridges and Oracle-based bridges. Can we distinguish here? Like, how do we evaluate these things? And our full-time researcher Arjun is doing a lot of work here in order to make an informed decision or creating an informed framework that can be put into an algorithm. But also here, we are in the early stage. But yeah, it's already happening on a small scale.
Yeah, well, I'm blown away by that. Thank you so much for that, Philip. Thank you so much, Max, as well, for just providing such valuable insights. It's just really been incredible having our second community AMA, and thank you to everyone who asked questions. Before I move on to a little bit of admin in terms of how you can claim your POAP and that, I always like to ask, is there anything additional that you'd like to add before we end our AMA today?
So I would like to say that we will look into your question that are asked today and make sure that if there's something unanswered, we will provide an FAQ or something in the future, because like there are some things that may not be clear from just viewing our interface, and it's good if you like add the suggestions or ask these questions so we can learn from that and make it easier for the next user. So thanks a lot for asking all these questions today.
Yeah, guys. Also, thanks all for coming, for bringing friends, and yeah, being loyal to this community. So many nice questions, and really looking forward to expand on this. Maybe next time we can even do more stuff, answer more people that have their own questions, and there are so many things we can do as a community. And Jordan, thank you very much for organizing this. Such a great job. And also thanks to Buller, our other community manager, also being a great help at all times. And yeah, you guys doing a good job. And you community, please give as much feedback as possible. Don't be afraid of shitting on us. We have a channel for that. We're gonna improve on all ends. Promise.
That's great. Well, thank you so much. It's a pleasure for myself and Buller to do what we do, because we, like we always say, value each and every one of you a part of this community. In terms of claiming your POAP, yes, everyone attending, all 1.1 thousand, will get a POAP, which is really exciting. So if you look on the channels that we have in our server, I'll move it all the way up, but all the way at the bottom it says claim POAP. Some people have already typed in claim. All you have to do is type claim, and we will find a way to get a link to you via your DM where you can mint and claim your POAP. So we'll be in contact with that. So don't forget to claim your POAP. Prove that you are here. It's great. Build them for the next AMAs, and you never know. Maybe something exciting will come to the ones who have the most. Also, something exciting is that we're going to choose some of the best questions asked in today's AMA to receive an NFT, which is awesome. But that's it for now. Thank you so much for tuning in to our AMA. Like Philipp and Max has always said, feel free to ask more questions. And yeah, we love you guys. Awesome.
See you soon, guys.
See you soon, guys. Bye-bye.
Cheers, everyone. Bye. Bye.